What's going on, guys? God bless you. I hope you're having an amazing day. So a lot of people have been asking, whether it's in the comments of the podcast episodes or on my videos that I post online on TikTok, is, Mike, what's your testimony? And I've shared it a lot. So a lot of people have heard it, but because it gets asked so many times, I decided I'm just going to stop, make a video, and I'll just give it to you here and put it on YouTube. I'm not a big fan of overemphasizing my testimony because I don't want people to think that your walk's going to be the same way and he's going to walk you through things the same way he did for me. For we're all going to be on a different journey, and God uses us in different ways. And if you don't think the things that happen before you're saved are crucial to what God needs you for after you get saved, well, yeah, let's just say God knows what he's doing. But okay, let's go with it. Easy and simple is, I was born into a Christian family. My parents were devout Catholics. I was raised in a Catholic home, baptized as a baby. I went through all the sacraments. I mean, my first words as a baby were hallelujah. Like, the little boy that I was really loved what he thought God was, or at least what his parents were pouring into him as a child, except eventually sin got a hold of me. And I mean, as soon as I could basically make decisions on my own, as soon as I was really starting to grow into who I would become one day, I turned to sin, ended up dropping out of high school, got involved with a gang, sold drugs, used women. I mean, I'm not going to go into detail on the sin, but if there's something that can be done, I probably did it in this period. And if I didn't do it yet, I guarantee you I will later in my testimony. I did a lot of bad things that I still had to deal with through the years of sanctification, because even though we know God forgives us, there's oftentimes we don't forgive ourselves. We'll read in Romans 8, therefore now there is no condemnation. And we'll say, you're right, I'm not condemned in God's eyes. But then in our moments of weakness, we'll condemn ourselves. And for several years, that's what I did. I ran the streets. I was running around in Camden, New Jersey, getting involved in things I shouldn't be involved in, doing things that we have no business doing. But however, in those moments, I always felt like I was in the wrong place. I wanted to be cool. I wanted to be hard. I wanted to be a thug. I wanted street credibility. But when it came time to doing evil things, I felt restrained. I felt like something was wrong, but I still did it. Fast forward to about the age of 20, and this is about 2007. Maybe I was 19. And I caught my 7th charge. That's right, 7 charges I had currently. 6 of them were open. 1 was on appeal. I was only found guilty for 1, which was a resisting arrest charge, and I was appealing it. And then my brother, who had lived with me now at this time for 4 or 5 years, Tim Loper, he comes to me and says, hey, we should join the Marine Corps. And you see, the reason why he's living with me, and I should have mentioned it, is, as I mentioned earlier, my parents were devout Catholics. Well, my father was a man of God, a man that really represented what a man of God should be. And even though I ignored it at that time, I guarantee you it left an impact on my life for years and years to come. But he always opened his doors to anyone in need. He offered a hand to anyone who needed it. And I watched that my whole life. We had a homeless guy living with us when I was like 4. Like, Dad, you trust this homeless guy in the house? But my dad would give you an inch. He would trust you if you were in need, no matter who's done him wrong in the past. And likewise, when a friend of mine was in need, he gave him a place to stay. So Tim was living with me for 4 or 5 years. And he comes to me one day and he says, Mike, why don't we join the Marine Corps? And I'm like, join the Marine Corps? You got me twisted. And I probably said it a little different than that, because in my mind, that's war and death. But he said, man, look, our futures ain't bright. Everyone we know is dying or going to jail. If we stay here, we will die or go to jail. Okay. Had to think about it. So I sat down like an idiot lost in sin. I smoked a blunt and I said, okay. And I walked into the recruiter's office, confident, cocky, arrogant, and stupid, high. And I told him I want to join the Marine Corps. I shipped off like 9 days later. I left for the Marine Corps, and in my mind, I have now conquered my problems. You see, in my mind, sin was something I could run from because my problems were in New Jersey. They weren't within me. They weren't in my flesh. They weren't going to follow me. I can get away from that. So I joined the Marine Corps. I did my basic training. I did the things that I'm supposed to do. And then we get to my first base, and I get there, and the barracks are just like the worst thing ever. And I'm just like, we have to deal with this. And then I heard you get paid a little bit more if you get married. And I'm like, well, I could do that. I didn't say it like that, but it was in my mind. So the first woman I met got married. Simple as that. A lot of military members do it. Dumb. Stupid. And in my mind, I thought I was a Christian still. So like I had the rule of like I got to marry a Christian girl. Because in my mind, I was raised in a way, and Catholics do kind of raise you this way to think that once you're baptized as a baby, you belong to Christ. You belong to the church and you're saved. And the problem is that this can send someone who thinks that they're covered in the blood of Jesus into a weird place. Because why would I need the Bible? Why would I need to know the Bible? I knew the Bible. I've been trained my whole life. My mother poured the Bible into me. I knew the Bible, but why do I have to live by the Bible? Why do I have to stick to the Bible? I became one of the Christians who says, I don't need the Bible. I just need Jesus. I don't need the accountability that comes with the Bible, but I want the benefits of Jesus. And you see, I posed as a false Christian. So I made sure that this woman was a Christian. You know, gotta do it the Christian way. Fast forward through years of never being a good marriage. I mean, yeah, you have infatuation, you have lust. That period ends quickly. It never worked. Military time goes by. I deployed to Afghanistan in 2011. I come home from Afghanistan and everything's different. I mean, everything. I mean, it was like she was a born-again atheist, and I don't blame her. I didn't know who I was getting into, but it was almost as if she knew that I needed to marry a Christian. So that's what she was when I met her. But the truth came out. And again, that's not her fault. I should have known. I shouldn't have rushed into something for money. I don't regret it. I have a son from it. But I come home to a marriage that won't work. Because when I come home, something's changed. And in a moment where we were discussing something about our child's future and how he'll be raised, she said he will not be raised in religion. He will not be raised we will not tell him about God. And I said no. Because even though I was a bad Christian, a false Christian, a false sheep, whatever you want to call it, something inside of me said I cannot do that to my son. And I made it clear to her. I said, no, that can't be. And this caused a division that I've never felt in my life. I tell people this might have been the start of the journey back to God, because for the first time I felt conflicted spiritually. And for the first time in many years, I turned to the Bible. What do I do? And then she cursed God in front of me and then asked for a divorce. And I turned to God for the first time in many years, and I come across the scripture that says, if a non-believer wants to leave, then you let her leave. Not realizing I'm also a non-believer in this time. Mike, you don't believe. You can say you believe. James says, even that you believe God is one, you do well. Even the demons believe and tremble. So that marriage ends. You think fast forward and maybe I get saved, right? No, there's so much more that happens, because after the marriage ends, some troubles happen, and without sharing too much personal information, because that's not fair to her, things happened that were very dark and demonic involving her life, my ex-wife's life. And on a night where I was up till 4 a.m. dealing with actual evil and demonic things, I don't want to, like I said, share too much, but just know it was a night of spiritual warfare, mental exhaustion, and it's like 3 o'clock by the time I even get back home. 4 o'clock I go to bed, and then I wake up at 6:30 to a phone call, and I don't forget the phone call. We call her my Aunt Tammy, because Tim's my brother. Like I said, everybody in his family called me family. His family treated me as family. I knew his whole family. And she called, and I wake up, I'm half asleep, and I'm like, hello? And she goes, they took your brother. Now, my brothers have been reckless. Took my brother. What? Oh, he got locked up. Did he do something stupid? Did he get into a drunk bar fight? He's a Marine, I'm like, what? I'm half asleep. Like, what? She said, they took your brother. I'm like, what? T, what are you talking about? And that's when she said, they took him. Tim. They killed him. And in that moment, because remember, my military career is at the peak where it's at, but it's already fading away because I didn't even mention this. I'm dealing with some injuries that are going to probably ruin or shorten my career. And then my ex-wife is leaving. Darkness happens. Demonic things happen. I'm up all night. I'm stressed out. What's my life going to be? Oh, goodness. And what's one thing that's a constant? My brother. And now he's gone. And I lost it. If I would have been in New Jersey, I probably would still be in jail for what I would have did to the man that killed him. Because I wasn't in the right mind space. I wasn't there. I immediately grabbed my gun. I was in North Carolina. You own guns. And I thought about it. Now, I went home, obviously, and I was there for the court case. I saw the dude, and I went through some mental stuff. And at this point, my career was over because they even saw it. I was gone. There wasn't even a reason to be in the military for me. And then with my injuries coming up, not allowing me to properly exercise because my back, I have issues in my spine. I have issues in my head. I have issues in my hip, issues in my feet. I ended up getting out. But now I'm getting out with medical issues. My best friend and my brother is gone. My ex-wife is an ex-wife. I'm fighting for custody because I have to get this custody because she wants to raise him in ways that are, there's no God. It's okay to be any gender you want. She wants to pour that into him. And I'm like, I can't. No matter what someone thinks about me from the life I've lived or the decisions I've made or my reasoning behind it, I have to protect him from being lost. So I fight that. And then while doing this, the doctors at the VA are prescribing me Opana, which is oxymorphone. This is 3 times the strength of oxycodone. And at this point in my life, I've never taken an opiate, other than maybe when I was like 17 and I did drugs a couple times here and there, but weed was my choice as a youth. I didn't really pop pills like that. So here I am taking something 3 times the strength of oxycodone, raw, no cut, no Tylenol, no nothing. And I'm getting high daily off of it. And it makes the pain go away. It makes me forget of how my life is ruined, how my value is gone, how I have nothing. And then I turn to finding sex because sex answers it too. So let me find a woman. And luckily for me, I found a woman who liked drugs and liked sex. And I completely just stopped caring about life. I did. Years passed. I think a year and a half to be exact. It got to the point where I was injecting my drugs in me. I was lost in my sins. I was in the bottom of my pit. I ended up moving back home with my parents. I had what am I going to do? I tried to get a job. I couldn't keep it. I couldn't focus. I couldn't do anything. I just wanted to numb the pain. I wanted to get away from the pain. Why am I still alive? They took my brother. I lost my only value, which was being a Marine. People used to look at me a certain way in my uniform. That's a leader of Marines. That's a hero. And now I look in the mirror and I see a bum. I see a drug addict. I see a junkie. I see a failure who couldn't keep his marriage together, who can't take care of his own kid, who can't protect his friends, and who can't even protect his own value. So what did I do? I came to God and I asked him to kill me. Because remember, I was a Christian. Suicide's not an answer. It's unforgivable. That's what I was always told, right? If you kill yourself, you can't ask for forgiveness. You can't ask for forgiveness because God is, sitting there waiting like, oh, you didn't ask. And I asked him, I said, God, kill me, please. I know I can't do it because that's a sin, but I don't need to be here. I can't do this anymore, God. I cannot do this anymore. And in my tears, in my broken heart, I beg God, just kill me or use me because my life has no value and I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I relinquish my control to you, God. And I said, I give you my life. And then 2 days later, I get a phone call. Random, from a guy I was roommates with in my first year in the Marine Corps. And we stayed in touch a little bit while I was in the Marine Corps, but near the end, not really. And then I got out and I didn't talk to him for years. But he just called me. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Oh, I'm good. Lying. I'm great. You know me, get out the Marine Corps ball, and I got a couple things set up. He's like, yeah, definitely. You should come out here and visit me. I'm like, okay, where? Texas. Okay. And we talked a little bit more. I'm kind of summarizing it, but it ended up with him saying, come visit him. And I came to visit him, and I'm an addict still. I'm dealing with withdrawal because after my moment with God, I decided to be done. Because what I didn't realize is when I came to God, he already started working. Even though I haven't realized it yet. He's already working. So I'm an addict in withdrawal, but I go visit him and everything seems great there. He's loving. There's no bad influences. I mean, he's a Marine, so he's a bad influence off that, but but no, none of those bad influences that I needed to get away from, right? And then he says to me, Mike, I'll be honest with you. I think you should move out here. And I'm like, what? He's like, I didn't really call just to call. I had like this feeling that something was wrong. And then when I talked to you, it didn't seem right. And I just felt like I needed to get you out of there. He's like, so don't go back. And I'm like, man, I got a son at home. He was like, so bring him. Okay. Whew. And I remembered what I asked God right before he called. So I made a decision. I went home. I told my parents I love them. And I said, I have to do this. I asked them, can you keep my son for a couple months so I can get myself situated here? And I got a one-way ticket and a backpack. And I said, all right, God, I came to you. I said, I'm done. I said, I'm done. And I give it to you. And now this is coming up. I trust you. And I took that step and I followed it. And I've been in Texas since. I've been walking with the Lord since, and it's not been an up in the sky journey this whole time. It's ups and downs, but I gave my life to Jesus that night when I was broken. I gave my life to him and said, it's yours. And since then, there's been moments where I tried to take back my life in moments of pride. And when I tried to take back my life, I was chastised and punished for it. Because you see, God gives you freedom. Yes, don't get it twisted. But at the same time, I gave it to him. I said, I'm coming to you and I give it to you. So he walked me through that fire. He walked me through those moments. And over these courses of years, I've involved myself with street ministry. I used to go out with CFM, Christ Forgiveness Ministries, which is an incredible organization if you're not aware of them. I'm a faith coach with JesusCares.org. I ended up being able to take care of my family. I ended up moving my parents from New Jersey here, even though when I left them, that lost kid that was lost in sin, in my mind, I might never see them again because my dad was older and they can't just be up and moving. I was able to move them here and they spent some time with my son before my dad passed. I met my wife and I've got a wonderful family now. And it's because not only did I give my life to Jesus, but I took that step. And I want people to understand that because you see, we look at the faith in the Bible, but how often do we see that first step? Look at Abraham. What he did when he went up on the mountain. And we see that we're saved by faith, but our faith is made complete in our action. You see, God loved Abraham and accounted him righteousness due to his faith. But God couldn't use him until Abraham was willing to be used. I mean, yeah, could God use you against your will? We know very well he can. But he allows us to participate. That's why Abraham's father is not the father of all, because he was given that same task and he did not complete it. So I ask you, if you came to him, I love you, and that's beautiful. But now that you're with him, it's not the end, it's the beginning. When you get that phone call, when you get that moment where it's just somebody offering you something that doesn't make sense in the moment, don't forget who you've been asking for help from. Because we often expect God to be the one to answer it. We expect God to literally come and sit down next to us and be like, let me give you guidance. But the truth is, he answers us with each other. He uses us to do his work. So I hope that gives you guys some insight on my testimony. I don't have a script here. I don't have anything I'm writing down. So if it was a little jumbled, I apologize. I wanted to give it to you from my heart. So this was raw. This is one take. It's going to be easy for uploading. I don't got to worry about, editing or nothing. But God bless you guys. If you're new, obviously you are, this is a new page. So all of you, thank you for taking the time to hang out with us. And just know, as I tell everyone, don't trust me because I say it. Don't trust anybody online because we say it. Dive into the word. Test everything and stay true to God, because all men can be liars, but God is true. God bless you guys. Go in peace.